Welcome to the Rising Consciousness Show, 20 minutes of soulful insights and powerful tools to elevate your life experience and create with higher clarity, intention, and vision. I'm Tara Antler, intuitive healer and soul coach.
And I'm King Gabriel, spiritual teacher and practitioner. And we are the co-founders of Ascension Academy of Life,
a global center for spiritual growth, intuitive healing, and soul alignment.
Get ready to blast off.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Rising Consciousness Show. We're so excited to be recording this live in-person episode. We're here in beautiful Siesta Key, Florida. We're on the tail end of our amazing retreat. We have a special guest with us, who I'm going to introduce in just a moment. And we're so excited to be here because, one, we get to record this live, which is such a rare, amazing opportunity. We're tapping into this incredible high vibrational energy very intentionally of the land that's here. And we're going to be talking about intentional money today and what that means to bring it into an intentional life, especially in regards to lifting the consciousness. We need to be having more intentional money conversations. And I couldn't think of a more perfect person to be talking about this. Miss Leah Hadley, thank you so much for being here with us. So excited. Leah's been here with us on this journey, and we met in Kelly's world, Kelly Roach. We have the same mentor. We've been in the same circles for years, I would say now. And Leah, you know when you meet certain people, we were at the last event in the fall, and I remember watching you speak, and I kept sending you so much love because I'm like, the whole planet needs to have these conversations about intentional money, what that means, and to be more empowered when it comes to money. And then I think we ended up sitting at the same table or something, and then we got to talking about all the things, and then we realized we had a lot more in common, especially in terms of the energy and consciousness, which I've gotten to know more now since we've had this week together. So I would love for you to introduce yourself to everyone, let them know who you are, what you create in the world. And I just want to share quickly that she is one of the most humble, because I know, she's one of the most humble people when it comes to the vast depth of knowledge that she carries for this concept and work, but also just in life. She is well aware of energy healing and does her fair share. She does her inner work. She adopted 3 beautiful, amazing children who are now like growing faster into adulthood. And she's super conscious about the type of life that she creates, who she surrounds herself, what she invests in, and truly believes that every single person, if we really got to this intentional conversation about money, you could be free. You really could live a freedom, beautiful, loving, incredible life. And so I'm so grateful that you're here, and I'd love for you to introduce yourself to everyone.
Absolutely. It is my absolute pleasure to be here, and I just get to sit and bask in the energy of Tara and Gabriel, so this is amazing. But I am based out of Cleveland, Ohio. I primarily grew up in Ohio, bounced around a little bit after college and that kind of thing, but I've been back there for almost 20 years now, and I have 2 firms that I manage. I have Intentional Wealth Partners, which is a financial planning and investment management firm, and Intentional Divorce Solutions, which is really helping people to look at how to uncouple more consciously and to really be intentional with their decisions around how they restructure their family.
So powerful. It's so powerful. And I want to talk about how this came to be for you, because when I was asking you, were you always in the financial world? And you were like, no. And so can you share a little bit about that, like where it started, how this journey came about? Because I think sometimes the misconception of when it comes to money is that people are like, oh, well, she just knows about money, or she came from a very wealthy family, so she just knows about money already. And that's not always the case.
Right. Absolutely. Now, I was very fortunate that, I was raised by a single mom who was incredibly resourceful. She's also an accountant. And so money conversations were not off the table when I was growing up. They were absolutely part of the conversation, which I think is really critical to the work that I do today. But like Tara said, I did not grow up in finance. I have a master's degree in education. I taught for Baltimore City Public Schools, elementary school. I taught in community college. I got really burnt out in the classroom, and I was drowning in student loan debt. And I needed to figure out how was I going to support myself. I took a temp job, and then I walked into, it was an investment bank where that temp job was. And I walked in that first day, literally felt like everybody around me was speaking a foreign language. I did not understand the language around wealth creation. I didn't understand what people were talking about, what they were like, it just was like I was total fish out of water. But I was so blessed that I had these wonderful mentors at that firm who really took me under their wing and said, you know what? You can do this if you want to, right? And there was a lot of work that I did just learning on my own, lots and lots of reading. But I also really leaned into their mentorship and was like, let me learn from you, right? And ultimately became a publishing equity research analyst. So I covered consumer durable stocks for big institutional investors, mutual funds, hedge funds, pension funds. And ultimately decided that that lifestyle didn't fit for me. Yeah. And so I decided, when my ex-husband and I were ready to have a family, that having that kind of a role and being the mom that I wanted to be just wasn't going to work for me. And so I decided to start working with individuals and families as a financial advisor. And I went to one firm. It was a big, well-known firm, has a certain way of doing business, which is great because I could very quickly find that that was not the right fit for me. And I tried another firm. And I also found that that wasn't the right fit for me. Yeah. And then I went through my own divorce. And I had to do some real soul searching because at that point I had 3 children and they had a lot of needs. And having kind of a traditional 9-to-5 job wasn't going to work for me. Yeah. And so ultimately decided that I was going to hang my shingle and figure it out. And I was sharing with Tara, I didn't figure it out right away. I tried a lot of things that didn't work, that didn't feel in alignment, that had to kind of shift and pivot. And, it's been such a wonderful journey because now I've created this business that impacts so many people's lives in such a wonderful way.
Mm-hmm. And it is. And this is really important. Like anything anything coming to mind, just jump on in.
Yeah, well, what I'm hearing is, based on what you're saying, is that the way that things have been set up for most people, according to finances or how things flow in finances, is not really meant to work for the person who really wants to have, like you say, a family and thrive with a family and spend time with that family and that sort of stuff, right? So it's wonderful that you took the time to figure that out and come to the place where you can do something or you found a way to handle money intentionally and not have to do that route. Right. Because I think most people are at a place right now where they think they have to do this or else. This is all there is to do. This is just how they would. There's no other way. Right. So yeah, it's the other way, and I think we're all excited to hear. I think everybody.
That's exactly it. Yeah. And I think that's the important piece is that we've been talking about this a lot, that people right now are in varying buckets and states when it comes to money and finances. And you even shared something really fascinating this morning because we were talking about, after Q&A, we were saying there's this pocket of people that are holding in this, like as if you're holding your breath. Because we see what's happening in the financial world, we see what's going on, and people are holding. So people are afraid. Some people are afraid to make investments. Some people are afraid to make moves or make a decision or to grow a business or to do anything. So it's like this it feels like an eternal moment of holding your breath where you're like, just waiting for the tide to change. And you shared something really amazing that I'd love for you to share with everybody because I think it's very empowering.
Absolutely. I think it's really important for people to understand that economic cycles are normal and healthy. It's really important for us to have space for contraction and expansion. And so right now we are in a time and space where people are pausing a little bit and they're not putting as much into the economy. And they're looking for safety. They're looking for security. They're looking for a feeling like, okay, right? And when we look at the economic data, a lot of it is shining the light on issues in different areas, right? And that makes people nervous. And again, completely normal, completely okay, and just sort of part of the rhythm of what we see historically.
And that it changes. Right. That what the bubble that we're in right now, that's not always going to be. Right. It's going to shift. It's going to change. And so having that awareness brings back your level of empowerment, right? Because then people aren't just sitting in this fear bubble of, oh my gosh, it's just doom and gloom. You can elevate back up. You can still have your consciousness high and knowing that it's going to shift.
And if you want to challenge yourself, really think about those contractions as huge opportunities, right? Because that's where opportunity is created in the economy, is when people are feeling fearful and they're kind of sitting on the sidelines and they're watching and waiting to see what's going to happen. But when we can really trust in ourselves and get excited about what we are investing in, whatever that looks like for you, that can be really powerful. And like you're talking about, really empowering to feel like you are in the driver's seat.
Exactly. And that's the piece about intentional money. It's not just having, because some people are on this one end of the spectrum where it's like they have an amplitude of money and resources, and then you have on the other end of the spectrum where there is, and then you have everything else in between. And I think the common theme in all of these areas would be bringing the intentionality back, which you just wrote a book on this.
I did.
Which I have to show everybody. We're going to post the link for you guys. So go grab a copy. We'll make sure that you guys get a link for it. But it's Intentional Money, the modern woman's guide to building wealth, purpose, and peace. And what really stood out for me was the peace.
You know what stood out for me?
Yeah.
The modern woman. Because here's what happens. Because it's written for women, I'm probably going to go read it too. just no secrets. I want to find out. Right? So when it comes to women, the guys will read it too, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I want to talk about for a moment. I want to talk about a couple things. I want to talk about the intentionality behind writing this book. But before we do that, I was scanning through the chapters. And the very first one says, rethinking money, why the old way isn't working. Now, I love this so much because this is what we've been talking about a lot lately, is that when you see a collapse or a change in any area of life, you will get highlighted all the things that aren't working. So can you speak into this a little bit without giving away the whole chapter, but speak into this a little bit about what are you seeing as the old ways, especially around money, that aren't working? And then what can we get excited about in terms of what's next?
Yeah, so if we look at kind of how the financial system was created, it was created for a very linear life, right? We go to school, maybe we go to college, we start a job, we work in that job, and then we retire. And it doesn't really account for the reality of our experience. Now, most people don't hold a job for that long, right? People change jobs. People get married, they get divorced, they have children. People you care about pass away, right? Like so many things happen in our lives that impact our finances. And your finances, it's not separate from life. It's part of your life, right? So often people carry a lot of shame, angst, fear around money, as it has those things associated with it. But the reality is money is completely neutral, right? What we want to do is we want to learn how to integrate that into our lives in a way that's meaningful.
I love that so much. We talk about that all the time, about like the body is neutral, money is neutral. Most things actually are, and we are putting our influence, our energy onto those things. So this is where people can really start to change their money story.
Right.
And I believe that's the basis of it right now, right? A lot of people are starting to look at what are the fears that I have about money, but then how can I actually heal that and take that to a different level or story or knowing about what money is?
Absolutely. And, people think that, and I've had people ask, is intentional money written for people who don't have money? Is it written for people who do have money? But the fact of the matter is, the feelings that we're talking about, the energy that we're talking about that people are associating with money, that's across the board. It doesn't matter what your income is, what your net worth is, right? Money, again, is still neutral regardless of your situation. And it's what are you putting into it, right? And so you can choose to approach it from a place of joy and from a place of creation, or you're going to have a very different experience if you're approaching it from fear and anxiety, right?
Right. And then the contraction.
Right.
Because then the contraction makes everything come in, and then the money flow slows down or stops altogether.
Right.
Right. So I want to touch on, because in chapter 2, which you're going to have to go get the book to read this piece, but it talks about the 6 pillars of intentional money method. And I was reading through that this morning. So you guys got to go get a copy because it was really powerful and insightful. One of the things that I want to talk about with you here, though, is setting the intentions and defining your personal vision. So people do this a lot with their health. If they have a health goal, they have, even with pickleball, you have goals, that you want to attain and reach. How important is it for people when it comes to money to have those intentional goals or visions or dreams?
Well, I think it's really powerful if you allow yourself to have the vision for your life and not think about the financial piece, right? Really create that vision for yourself. I did this exercise once many years ago, and it just kind of blew my mind. Really, what is the life that I want, and what does it cost? And for me, the life that I want, it actually doesn't cost very much, right?
Yep.
The life that I hear on social media, the noise, all of that stuff out there of like keeping up with the Joneses, that takes a lot of energy to maintain.
Yeah, it does.
And it's not of interest to me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I recognized that, hey, I actually don't need that much, I actually found money flowed much more easily.
It's not the pressure and the
Exactly.
stress of it.
That's it. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. And we were talking about this a couple of days ago. We were saying, Leah and I were saying that it's amazing to watch and witness life in the world, and how if you look at it from that perspective of what do I want my life to look like, and then realizing, oh, it's actually doable, that takes the pressure off.
That's right.
But if you're trying always to be something that maybe is outside of what that natural bubble is, or like you said, keeping up with the Joneses, or the social media comparison, this is where we get ourselves into trouble, because then we're always we're outstretching to the point where that stretch is very uncomfortable and can hurt.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exactly.
And we see it all the time of people in their careers having very serious health issues. I mean, it really comes up all the time. And when we can release that pressure, and even I was working with a client, I think I shared this story in a book, I can't recall, but I was working with a client and she's really, really struggling with impulse spending. And she makes a very, very good living and was really having a hard time accumulating wealth. And she just was really feeling very frustrated. And she, again, is at kind of the top of her income situation, and was like, giving herself such a hard time, just, her lack of discipline, all these messages, right? And then she had an opportunity, same company, parallel move, different environment, different supervisor, different boss, and all of a sudden, she's accumulating so much more wealth. Wow. Why is that? Because she's no longer spending in order to soothe the experience that she was having that was so challenging, right? And so literally same income, same company, but now she's accumulating much
right, because the energy is different now. And that's a big part of it, right? And that's why I love that you bring this in, because it's not that often. I've met a lot of financial advisors, a lot of them. And it's very rare to find one that includes and talks about it, incorporates consciousness, empowerment, the energy aspect of money. It's like we're talking a similar language from a different turn of the wheel, right? And I love that about you, and I love that you weave this in, because I feel like it's really important for people to get that from a fundamental level, because when they do, they can literally change anything in their life.
Absolutely.
Anything.
Yes. And there is this assumption, and I don't know where it comes from, that people are always grasping for more information, more education, more knowledge, something lacking in them that they're trying to find, right? But in reality, that's not the answer. It's not about more information. It's not about more education. There's plenty of that out there. You can Google whatever you want. It's doing that internal work to really recognize what feels like in alignment and making decisions, even the tiniest decisions that tiptoe you into that space. And then suddenly everything gets easier.
Exactly. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I really like the concept of that one person who worked in one department and moved to another, because what you said was that they're soothing the emotions or the feelings that they were going through by the spending, right? And sometimes that really does happen. And I've seen that happen a number of times where people feel a specific way, and in order to just boost that emotion, they'll go and allow that energy to flow out so they could just feel better for that instant. But then
that evaporates.
It's gone after that, right? And then they have to get a next fix, and etc. So it's not that it is kind of costly to do that, but at that same level, with what you're teaching, I suppose, is that they could also start to look at that differently through that emotional change, and then maybe start investing a bit and using that money in a different way that would accumulate wealth as they go along, right? Okay, so that's a beautiful concept to move from that space, because most people don't even know they're doing it, right?
Right.
That's the hard part.
Yeah, the most common one I see, and this one was kind of a side effect, I guess, of COVID. But so many people got into the delivery services, right? Whether it's like the DoorDash or whatever, Uber Eats or Grubhub or one of those places. And a lot of times people are giving themselves such a hard time because they're doing this for convenience and they're doing this for, whatever, but it doesn't feel like in alignment. It's not maybe how they want to nourish their family but at the end of the workday, everybody needs dinner.
Tired.
And it's like, I'm tired, I'm depleted. And if we take a step back and we say, okay, why are you tired and depleted? Like, let's address the actual issue that's happening. It's not punishing yourself for doing DoorDash. It's recognizing, how do I have enough energy to feed my family at the end of the day, right?
Exactly. And that's what leads to this next piece that I want to touch on is being able to grow your income wisely through aligned earning. Now, there's a huge difference between aligned, whether it's purpose, earning a job, work, versus the misalignment. So can you speak into that a little bit?
Absolutely. So when I started my business, I struggled with pricing. I mean, I struggled with pricing.
I swear. Did I say this to you? I think we did day one. I said this to her. I was like, this is literally like the conscious woman, the healers, like, what would you call it? Like hang up, ripping point of like pricing properly. So thank you for touching on this.
So I had a business coach sit down with me and really work with me on what was I bringing to the table. Like, let's look at all of my education, all of my experience, I'm not bringing to the table, the 30 minutes that you and I are sitting together. I'm bringing all of that experience to the table, right? And I want you to get a tremendous amount of value out of that experience. And so in order for that exchange to feel valuable, I have to be compensated in a way that I'm valuing my time, my education, and my experience. And I'm valuing you too, right? Like, you have to be invested in that experience to really get something out of it, right? And that's part of what that earning with intention or earning in alignment is all about, right? So for me, it was getting really comfortable with what really is that value exchange and how do I grow a business that can support employees and their families and my own family, right? And serve our clients well and not in a way that we're being completely depleted every single day, right? But that decision on how to earn, that's going to look different for everybody. And you want to consider all facets of your life, right? Like, I knew equity research was not going to be the career for me to have the relationship with my family that I wanted to have. I knew that for myself, right? So I made some adjustments. I said when I was starting to talk earlier about starting my business, I tried a lot of things that didn't feel good. I have very highly developed analytical skills and I can do a lot of different spreadsheet work and modeling and analysis. And some of it creates beauty and amazing things in the world. And some of it uncovers some darkness that feels really yucky to me. And so I made business decisions around what felt good, what lit me up, the kind of impact that I want to have on the world. And you can do that in so many different ways.
Yes, exactly. And I wanted to ask you, there's two thoughts that I had. Is that some of the work that you do with clients? Like, let's say a client comes in to work with you and they say, this is my business, this is what I've got going on. And because I think a lot of people do struggle with that. How do I rate? Like, how do I actually put the value for the services that I do? Do you help clients with that?
So our business owner clients, we look at how do you align your business with your life. So we don't look at that in isolation. I'm always looking at everything holistically, but it's certainly a piece.
No, that's beautiful. Yeah. Because I think that that's an important piece. It's a conversation that comes up, and I think there's a lot of business coaching and things like that that skip over that a lot, where it's like, they'll figure it out. But then the person's sitting there in this like eternal abyss and going, like, I don't know. And they might start here or they might start here, or there's some sort of imbalance. So I think this is a really powerful conversation.
And let's talk a little secret here, right? Is that a lot of business coaches have not done their own inner work around money. And so you really do want to pay attention to what you are consuming and what's being avoided as it relates to having support in that area. Because there are so many business strategists, coaches, mentors, whatever you want to call them, who will talk to you all day long about how to grow a business, but not necessarily a profitable one, right?
Exactly. And a burnout one.
Right.
We've been talking about this a lot this week, and Gabriel and I have gotten to the point now too, where I just said, I can't do this burnout business thing. Like, it's just not even something I want to do anymore. And I think that that's still being threaded into the main, where you have to really push and gun it, and at the cost of burnout, which then there's resentment and everything else. And so then that's where people, I think, want to burn their businesses, because they haven't built it upon a strong foundation from the inside out, and also from this money conversation. Because if they did, they would know the value, the exchange of that value and service, etc. And I think it would it would balance out a little bit.
Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And I know that we've been talking about the evolution of you. So when you're just talking about it, there's the evolution of you, and what we keep seeing is there's some amazing projects coming, by the way. She's had some incredible vision since we've been here. I won't spoil alert them. However, there's like next level of these conversations coming in. And I want to talk about that for a moment, because I think it's important for people to understand and know that it's okay to have their lives evolve as you evolve internally, as you grow your conversation around wealth and money, but also the internal and how it all starts to go up. And then this is where the bigger visions start to come in,
Right.
about what's next, right?
So when I very first started my wealth management practice, it was actually called Great Lakes Investment Management. And as we started expanding out nationally, that name just didn't fit. And it was such perfect timing, because this name came to me, Intentional Wealth Partners, and it was like
So beautiful. Even when you say it, it's got such a lovely energy.
Right?
It's like, oh,
and completely
Right?
different, completely different,
Completely different.
from this. And I know why that happened, right? Because I was educated in the financial services space, and so here I was feeling like I needed this name that kind of represented this box again, right? But when we did rebrand and we embraced not just the name is important, but the energy behind the name, right? The concept of what does it really mean, intentionality, and what does it really mean to partner with people, right? What does that,
Absolutely.
not just manage money, like let's partner.
That's
Let's
right.
talk about, let's build and collaborate
That's right.
together. It changed my energy for the business. It changed the business.
Absolutely. And you work with clients all over the world now.
I do.
This is very good. Because people will ask that, right? They'll say, well, if I'm in this country and maybe I'm not in the US, does that still work? And you do have a part of your business where you can work with clients all over.
Exactly. Yeah, there are certain things we can do and certain things we can't do.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's important for you to know. There's one, you want to add anything? Well, I'm picking one more gem from here. I'm using my intuition. There's certain pieces I'm like, there's so much goodness in here. I started reading it the other morning. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the Intentional Wealth Partners idea is it's a really a blast, you know. In terms of intention, number one, it's just a strong vehicle. We already know that, right? So like just having that at the beginning, number one, it's like a strong pull, right? And then most people don't even think about what wealth really is, right? So like, the wealth conversation is one where people associate wealth with it's over there, it's somebody else's, and that sort of stuff, and not wanting to claim it, right?
Right.
But what is wealth really? Wealth includes health.
Absolutely.
Right? Most people don't know that, by the way. It includes health and it includes prosperity. Right? So when you're thinking about wealth, you're just thinking about overall well-being. Right? And that's a great idea to have included in there. And then, I just love the partnership idea.
Yeah.
It's like that collaboration, and it's just much better to do things together than alone.
And I got to add,
really work together well.
totally. And I got to add it another little bit based on what Gabriel's saying about the working together. Have you guys ever seen like the really flashy wealth?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's
It's
the
really
new wealth.
flashy wealth.
That's the new wealth.
There's a flashy wealth.
Yeah.
Then there's what I call like the grounded, mature wealth. And that's what I see when I tune into your energy. It's very grounded. It's very honoring. We were talking about mothering. It's very mothering. It's like this grounded, beautiful energy. You guys got to like get into Leah's world too, because there's this beautiful groundedness where money feels safe. Like just even sitting next to her as we're having this conversation, I keep feeling and hearing in her energy field, money feels safe. Wealth feels safe. It's okay. And in this really beautiful, grounded, tangible way, which then allows for greater possibility to open up.
Absolutely.
Because we feel safe.
Right.
And you carry that, and it's so beautiful to witness. And I am so grateful and so honored to know you, because you represent that new wealth generation and energy, which to me is like the true prosperity, not the facade prosperity. The true, grounded, heart-centered. And so I really want to thank you for that, because it's refreshing. It's very refreshing.
Thank you for saying that. You're going to make me cry. But before you continue, one thing I do want to say is that, Gabriel was talking about what is wealth. And, absolutely health, absolutely prosperity, connection and community also. And so often, wealth creation is done in isolation. We don't talk about money.
Yep.
We don't acknowledge it.
Right.
We don't acknowledge the challenges. We don't express gratitude for what we receive. And so because of that, so often people will find themselves in a position of prosperity and lack wealth, right?
Absolutely.
And so this is really about what does that life look like in all ways, and allow the money to flow.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. I've just got chills from head to toe right now. I was like, yes, let's go do this right now. So good. Okay, last bit that I want to draw from here. Invest for freedom. Your money working for you. Let's talk about this, because sometimes people are afraid to invest in whatever it is. And I would love for people to create some space and freedom within their consciousness right now, as they're hearing this, around what that looks like, truly.
Yeah. And there's no one way to do it. And I want to be clear about everything we're talking about. There's no one way to do it. If somebody's telling you there's one way to do it, that is not accurate. And financial services in particular has found that marketing through fear is beneficial for the industry, right? And so they create that, right? They create that in order to solve a problem that doesn't exist, right? And so a lot of it is you do want to kind of check in with yourself and see where are these messages coming from, right? But the fact of the matter is, when you do learn that your money can make money and your money can do the work for you, everything else becomes easier. You don't have to work so hard, right? Let's allow the money to work. And, you know, so often there is sort of very generic advice out there about like, okay, build wealth is not that hard. Let's just throw a certain amount of money into an index every month. And then at some point you will have the wealth that you want, right? And for some people, they may be able to get on board with that and kind of be disciplined around it. It doesn't excite me. When I hear Tara and Gabriel talk about their vision for this incredible sanctuary space in Mexico, to invest in something that you are so passionate about, right? I invest in my business every single day without hesitation because I know the impact that I can make in the world, and that excites me, right? I know a lot of people invest in real estate because they can touch it. And I get that, and that's fine. You can build wealth in real estate. That is a way of building wealth. But find what lights you up. And you can invest. You want to do it strategically. You know, we do have a check. It's not all just kind of like, what am I feeling, right? We still want to be really mindful and thoughtful about the decisions that we're making. But when you start to look at investing in that way, the kind of impact that you can have on the world, the kind of impact that you can have on your own personal life and family and community, suddenly, like, fear doesn't have anything to do with it, right?
Exactly. And then you start making, like, as we were talking about, aligned choices, those aligned steps, the aligned action, then it's easier. And then you can still be very structured in what you're doing, and you're doing it from such a beautiful place. Right. And I think that's the difference, is that you truly have the holistic view of this money conversation, you know, and I think it's really beautiful. Anything you want to add?
No, I love what's been said.
Me too. And in the book, Leah also talks about giving with heart, right? So there's the generosity, mindset shifts, intention to action. Y'all know I love action. It's got to be good action, aligned action, right? And then your money, your story, your life as well, being able to look at, like, how does this all come together?
And let's just touch on generosity for one.
I love it.
I have no doubt that you do, but generosity is only good if it's coming from a place of you being full. Right? You filling your cup first, right? And I have so many beautiful, wonderful, generous clients who want to give, whether it's to their adult children or to their community or whatever that looks like, to a point of putting themselves at risk. And so we can absolutely be generous and have it be part of our plan if we do it with intentionality. And we do it from a place of pressure, or we do it from a place of guilt. That is a completely different experience. And it can have a really negative impact on your financial situation. And so I think it's really important to recognize that generosity is an important part of the equation, But again, done in such a way that's
I agree with you. I actually have a question for you, because one of the questions that I've heard a lot from clients, we have a couple clients that are dealing with this right now, where, you know, when someone passes away in a family and they don't have all the things set up, and then it turns into total gong show. And so when it comes to scenarios like that, do you work with clients like that as well?
all the time.
Yeah, because I would imagine that that would be such a beautiful service to help them navigate all those pieces, because a lot of them are trying to do it on their own.
It's hard too. I lost my mom last July, and I was so grateful because she made it so easy for me. And even the funeral home director was like, your mother gave you the most beautiful gift, wrapped up in a bow. Just, you're grieving, you're going through such a hard time. You're dealing with some challenging family dynamics. Every family's got them. And then all of a sudden you have to start to unwind this mess. And you can choose to make that easy on the people that you love. Yeah. But it is a choice that you have to make.
Yeah, I agree. And that's one thing that I wish, like watching clients in the middle of the mess.
Yes.
Ooh, it's so challenging to watch. And that's what I keep thinking. I was like, if everyone had a Leah in their life, I think that we could avoid a lot of these chaotic moments, because they fracture the relationships, they fracture the harmony of a family, and then people stop talking to each other. I remember my grandma went through that. Her and her brother got in a fight over the dog peeing on and doing his business on the other's grass or something. And then they got upset when they came to the selling of all this land, and they came back to the dog. I'm not doing this and I'm not giving you that because the dog kept pooing on my property. And I was like, are you kidding me? You know, but it's like silly things like that, right? It's just like simple little things that could be taken care of and not fracture and have everything fall apart, right?
And it's also, I mean, the fact of the matter is, and I understand where it comes from, most people don't want to think about their own mortality. Most people, right? And so I completely understand that. But if you come at it from a perspective of, what is the legacy that I want to leave? And not just financial legacy, right?
Yeah.
What are the values that I'm sharing? What am I communicating in the way that I have prepared for my death, right? And so really acknowledging that can be a beautiful transfer in a family, or like you're talking about, it can be a nightmare for families. Yeah.
This is why it's so important for Leah to start writing her next book. It's writing for the youth. We're talking about this. And I said, gosh, like this is where I wish like from that younger generation, they had that knowledge and the wisdom that the parents could help build that in, because I didn't have that growing up. We just figured it out. We learned by just listening and watching our parents figure it out, you know? And so imagine if the whole next generation could also come in with such an empowered approach around investing in money and setting their life up in a way that it works for them. Oh my gosh. We're like intending this to happen today.
Intentional money put still.
See, there's my conversation.
No, did you say that? I just thought about it.
Leah, anything else that you want to add that you feel on your heart that you want to share with the community?
I just want to reiterate what Tara said before, that money is safe, money is neutral. You deserve to have the wealth that you choose to create. And so allow yourself to bask in that, because that's yours. It's a choice.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Carol, anything you want to add?
Yeah, it's been a grand pleasure to be here with you and to communicate with the audience and let them hear your views and the beautiful material that you brought forward for them. I know it's going to be useful for everyone who hears it, right? And we're grateful to have you. Thank you so much, Leah.
Very grateful. And so for everyone, the book is called Intentional Money by Leah Hadley. I'm going to show you one more time, but if you're listening to the audio, we're going to put the link for you guys. Where's the best place if they want to just go, if they're listening in their car, where can they find it?
Pop on Amazon, put in Intentional Money, and don't forget to leave a review, please.
Yes, I love reviews on Amazon. It helps the author out a lot. And so, Leah, I want to thank you so much. I'll put this down for a second because I want to thank you so much for who you are, for being here, for communicating with the community and sharing your gifts. And for more than that, I really want to thank you for walking this path and this journey, because I know how much you have gone through personally. I know how much love you poured into your life and your children. And every every single step that you've taken has brought you to this powerful moment where I feel like you're just getting started in who you're going to help and the masses that you're going to help shift a whole new wave, a whole new paradigm of intentional money for the world is a vision that I hold for you and all the people that you get to work with and that actually get to work with you too, because you are a gift. You are an angel and you are a gift. And I'm so, so grateful to know you. And thank you for being here on the retreat with us. Yeah. So grateful. So grateful. It's so beautiful. You guys gotta go, you gotta know Leah. Go check her out. We're gonna post the links to her website and all the places social that you can find her. Thank you for sharing your gifts with the world. Thank you. We're gonna keep lifting you up. It's gonna keep going. We're all gonna be living in the like bliss heaven on earth bubble. It's gonna be beautiful. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. We'll see you all really soon.
Thank you so much for joining us today on another episode of the Rising Consciousness Show. For more high vibration conversations, meditations, energy activations, and tips and tools on creating your most exceptional life, we lovingly invite you to connect with us at academyoflight.ca. The website is www.academyoflight.ca. It is time to create your heaven on earth experience, and we look forward to sharing this beautiful journey with you.
You're listening to Rising Consciousness, yeah.
Woo!
Woo!